The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline. It is Wednesday, April the 9th. We're just trucking right along here in April, getting closer and closer to the NFL draft. I believe it's 2 weeks away from tomorrow, so should be kind of a dead period here. There's some moves the Cowboys could make, maybe still looking at. This is getting to that time where you don't want to do too much before the draft. You want to see how it plays out, and that's pretty much where they are right now. Not much has happened in the last week or so. I guess maybe the trade for Joe Milton that happened right after our show that day. So we haven't really talked about that. We can discuss that, what the quarterback situation looks like. We can do all that and more. 888-855-2297 is the number to call. We've got a couple of callers on the line, so let's get right to it. Brian in Kansas City, what's up?
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. How you doing? I like the shirt today.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Hey, I was, listening to all the various content and everything, you kind of, at least as a fan, since we've had access to so many media scouts and, basically since the internet, so you kind of develop favorites and everything.
Right.
And I just wondered so I have two questions for you, and I'll give you mine. So my favorite this year is I think I would want the tackle Simmons. I think if I could have anybody, and I'm assuming that some people are out of touch. I'm assuming I can't get Graham or Hunter or what's the pass rusher's name, Carter. I'm assuming a few of those people are out of reach. Or we'd have to trade up, which I definitely don't want to do.
Right.
So for me, I think it would be Simmons that's the guy I would want and put him in there. And my second favorite would be Grant, which, we laughed about that last week because he's a Michigan defensive lineman.
Right.
But that's kind of what my favorite is. I kind of wondered, I know you're not like a deep dive draft guy.
Yeah.
But you listen to all the shows and you talk to, way more people than I'll ever talk to about it. Wondered if you developed a favorite this year. And then I just kind of wondered, you've been there for so long. Do you have a favorite draft memory?
Who?
Just a draft memory period since 1999. There's got to be something, right? And
Yeah.
I'll hang up and listen, sir. It's good to talk to you this morning.
All right. Thank you too, Brian. I mean, that's a whole show right there, draft moments and stories and things like that. I don't know if I could just pinpoint one or two. We did a documentary called War Stories, so like War Stories 1 and War Stories 2. So it was basically 2 full hours of draft stories. So yeah, I have plenty. I don't know why I can't even think of one just to tell right off the top. So I'll just leave it at that for a second. I'll come back to that in a little bit. Favorites for this year, you're right. I don't study it as much. No one's asking me to be on the draft show. I'm not on there. I don't want to be on there. All that. It's hard. It's hard to do that. We're asking our people to study these players, and they're trying to study as many as they can. And what's a study? How long does it take? 3 games, 4 games, 30 games? It's hard. It's hard to do that. And so, that's why these scouts, they've been doing this for 2 or 3 years on each player, each draft class and things like that. So, they've got a good, handle on this. And even that, we've seen it. It's not an exact science. What I typically will look at is traits and also history. And for the most part, the Cowboys have done a really good job with offensive linemen. So if you're sitting at 12, I just have a hard time thinking you're not going to get a really good player right there at 12. Tackle, guard, whoever's there, there's going to be some for you, and a guy that can play 8 to 10 years for you. The guy that drafted Micah Parsons back in 2021, what a great pick. They almost picked Slater from Northwestern, who went to the Chargers. I think that would have been a great pick too. Not Micah Parsons, but still a pretty good, solid pick. And so that's what I'm looking at. Whoever that might be, whoever kind of falls, that's why you want as many quarterbacks, as many receivers, running backs. Jump in there. Jump in the mix. Corner. Now, I'm fine with a corner if that's the best spot, but I think corner and offensive line, really a tackle. Corner and tackle would be my guys, and the best one. Now, I'll say this too. You have the 12th pick. I don't know how many first-round grades they're going to have. They usually don't reveal that till maybe later. Jerry will say it like after that day, maybe after the second round, or after the first or second round. But usually it's 15, could be 18, 20, could be 13. Whatever that is, at the 12th pick in the draft, the Cowboys need to get a first-round grade. So if you get a trade-back scenario to 17 and you only have a couple of first-round grades available, I don't know if I would do that. Whatever you do, you've earned it. With the 7-10 record, you've earned a first-round pick. You need to get a first-round player. And a lot of people don't realize that not everybody has a first-round grade. They grade them, and so last year the Cowboys were late in the second round. They didn't get a first-round player. Tyler Guyton did not get a first-round grade from them. Not to my understanding that he didn't have a first-round grade. Typically, you're not going to have it later in the first round. So that's my whole thing is wherever they do, they need to make sure they get a first-round graded player on their board. Don't trade too far back if you're not going to get that, because that's what this team definitely needs. Zach in Atlanta is next.
What up, Nick in Frisco? How are you, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Shout out to you. Shout out to Beam. Y'all are the best in the business.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks since I called in, and I've caught up on shows, man. I missed, I think, your daughter's birthday happened, and there's other stuff. So when I caught up, I was like, man, I'm out here trying terrible comedy material, and people are celebrating birthdays. So
that's okay.
Anything I've missed, shout out to everybody. But I wanted to say I feel like the draft season is so much fun because of all the, limitless potential and mix and match and all that. But I kind of feel like what you were just sharing, and it's probably your sentiment about why you don't get as into the draft, is like you get all the ducks in a row and you're like, is it just happens like this? Get the ducks in a row, and then they wind up picking a goose. And you're like, all right, well, I guess I got to learn about this other player now.
Right.
But it's part of the fun. You get a nice grid on the league and how teams change. And, I do appreciate that. But as far as the Cowboys, it's always nice to have the wish list and what would be ideal. And then, they snatch Mozzie Smith at, 27 or whatever. And you're like, all right, this is our guy. So anyways, that's just kind of where I'm at in the draft season process. I listen to the draft show. Vach and Broadus have shows, and I'm plugged in, but I just have a little fatigue. So airing that on the airwaves today, I cannot wait for the draft. Want it to come so I can really study the players that we pick. So that's all I got for you, man.
All right.
Hope y'all have a good day.
Thanks, appreciate it, Zach. Here's my more of a point to that, like you just talking about, and I'm not trying to be negative on the draft. It's just impossible to get ahead of, and even when it happens, I mean, think about it. We're about to be 1 year removed from last year's draft, so Tyler Guyton, Marshawn Nealon, Maris Leofau, Kalen Carson. I know I'm missing like a 4th round pick or whatever. That's probably my point. Also, is I'm just throwing out some guys that were drafted. We don't know much about these guys. We still don't know. Tyler Guyton can play. Is he going to be a good player? I think Maris Leofau is going to be a pretty good player. Marshawn Nealon, we'll see. You know, he got banged up a little bit. He's going to get a lot of opportunities now. Kalen Carson, it looked good early, then he got hurt, and then, you know, didn't get a chance to do much after that. So that's my point. That's last year's draft. You could probably go back 2 or 3 years as well, and still there's question marks. So, you know, just because you draft a player, you know, we're going to draft some guys in 2 weeks, and you know, they'll get graded and all that kind of stuff, and how did the Cowboys do? And again, we don't know. So that's why I've always like, we'll see what it is. I don't study these guys enough. I see the highlights. I don't always see the bad plays. I don't always see those things. But I also know what positions typically come in and do well early, and what this team needs. And I'd love to hear from you guys, because you guys will probably study it way more than me. So, all right, let's go to Robbie in Cocoa Beach, Florida.
What's up, Mr. Nick? How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
It was a great weekend. I took the kids fishing out in the boat. We have a 26-foot boat.
Did you catch anything?
Oh, yeah. Come on, man. If I go out in the water, we catch fish.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult you.
No, I didn't mean it like that. God, it wasn't. No, you're going to call me defensive again.
Okay.
No, not at all, man. But catch a lot. We catch a lot of redfish here.
Nice. Okay. Good. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great day, and the kids had a blast.
That's
you know what
part.
it's like with little ones. Yeah.
That's the best part.
And my son and I saw the Minecraft movie. He loved it. He said it's the best movie I've ever seen. You need to take Jacob to it.
He's already seen it. I didn't take him, but he's seen it. Yeah, he has seen it. Anyways, what's going on with you?
The Cowboys. Man, you know, I always get so hopeful around this time of year. And I look back to some of our older players, or recent older players from drafts. I got a couple questions. You think Mozzie's got a chance to actually turn it around? I mean, 3 coordinators is his 3rd one.
Yeah.
I mean, what do they want him to do? What is he good at that he can do? And my second part, I know you'll agree with this one, is I hope we take the best available, either A, running back, B, guard, C, tackle, D, defensive back, E, tight end, whatever. You know, we got so many needs that we could take. I just hope we take somebody good, man. I hope that he fits and he's a good person and works out well with the team.
Yeah.
But if you answer that question about like Mozzie and you talked about Nealon and Tyler Guyton, I wonder if maybe they make that second-year jump. So listen, I just want to hear your opinion on those guys.
Yeah.
I guess.
And we've seen it before. Thanks for the call, Robert. We've seen these guys make that second year. And look what Deron Bland did his second year. Look what Trayvon Diggs did his second year. Look what Jake Ferguson did. You know, so we've seen it. I mean, if Maris Leofau makes that jump in his second year, we're talking about a really, really good player. And then Marshawn Nealon as well. I mean, no one needs to make more of a leap than Tyler Guyton. And you know, from what I keep hearing, he's where he needs to be. He's in the weight room every day. He's taking it seriously, and that's the first step. I think he's a young person, not just a young player, a young person, and still a young football player. Hasn't played this position a lot. Offensive line, he didn't play a lot of offensive line, so he's learning how to do it. And even at college, even playing at Oklahoma, you face some really good competition, but you know, athletically, you know, he could do it. He could overpower you. He's tall, big, and all that. But in the NFL, if your technique isn't good, it doesn't matter. So he has to keep doing that, keep getting better there. You know, and I have confidence that he can turn things around. Now, your question was about Mozzie Smith, first round pick from 2 years ago. And yes, what does he do well? I mean, he's strong as an ox. That doesn't mean everything, though. Just because you're winning the strongman competitions of the world doesn't mean you go right to the NFL. And again, technique, quickness off the ball, awareness, studying, understanding what concepts are, understanding what the blocking schemes from the opposing team. So those are the things that Mozzie still has to do to get better. Remember, now Mozzie made that statement. We talked about it a couple times about I don't really like football and all that. I like to hit people, and that's a red flag. And so has things changed there? Because liking football means studying to do your absolute best and not just, say, oh, I'm bigger, stronger than you, I can push you around. Because that doesn't work in this level, and we've seen that. So offensive linemen are big, strong too, and the ones that study know how to block these guys. And so that's the step that he needs to take. I know talking to Matt Eberflus a few weeks ago, he loved Osa. I mean, Osa was not signed at the time. And he was like, I really, 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 really love Osa. I mean, I would hope to get him back. Then we asked him a little bit about Mozzie, and he said, no, I think Mozzie's going to be just fine. Mozzie's going to be fine. We'll be working with him. He's got a lot of tools in the toolbox. So, now that's what every coordinator is going to say on the record. Every coach is going to say the positive things. But, I like Eberflus. He's a straight shooter, and I believe him on that. So he's confident in what Mozzie can do to turn things around. All right, we have another caller on the line. Chris, we got one? Yeah, we'll go to Armando in Mexico City.
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. So, little harder again to get through because with now the time change, we don't do that in Mexico anymore. So it's earlier for me, 1 hour. So it's even harder. Not much of a morning person.
Okay. All right. Well, good morning. Good morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us here on the Storyline.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's the best way to wake up. So, Nick, I know this draft season, so everyone has his own opinion.
Right.
I'm just not gonna go too much into that. So I just say that I hope Genty is our pick if it's there. So that's it. I hope so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't think you will be, but you never know. You never know. Weird things happen. Not everybody would need a running back. So if somehow the Raiders pass on him, then maybe he does fall a little bit. But it doesn't sound like he is going to be there.
Yeah, I think it's the Raiders and the Bears. The
Bears, yeah.
The two possible candidates. But anyway, we'll see. I hope so. So anyway, Nick, I have a question for you. I always wondered, how do contracts actually work in the sense that I know players that get paid 1/18 when each week on the regular season, but when free agents and draft picks are hired, for example, they don't get paid at all until the regular season. How about training camp and the preseason and everything like that? They don't get anything other than the signing bonus, I guess?
There's like a stipend that they get, that some of the players get, like free agents, like not really undrafted free agents, but, they call them street free agents. There is like a stipend that they receive, but it's really not a lot. And no, you don't really get paid until week one. You make the team week one of the season. Now you could also get practice squad. Those guys get paid as well, but it's a weekly deal. So that's a lot of players sometimes don't understand that. Like early on, you might get a rookie, spends all his money, doesn't understand that he doesn't get paid the next week when the season's over. It's over. So that's one of the things that and there's a lot of people that help these guys with finances and stuff here in the building, outside the building, but it's basically at 18, your salary is divided by 18. Now, signing bonuses are, you get some bonuses throughout the year. You get some workout bonuses. Just depends on how your contract is structured.
Oh, okay. I always wondered about that.
Yeah.
But, okay. Well.
All right, Armando.
Thanks talking to you.
Good hearing from you. All right, have a good one. Let's keep going to Oklahoma City. We got Gavin in Oklahoma City.
Hey, my man, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I can't complain, man. I just wanted to touch on the Joe Milton trade. I really, really like the trade. I think as much flack as the front office gets when something doesn't go the way the fans want it to go, I think we got to give them as much credit when they make a nice move, because what they've done here obviously has made it to where you don't have to use a draft pick on a quarterback. Milton I'm guessing may have been on their board somewhere, obviously, in the previous draft process for them to make that trade.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of upside, in my opinion. He's got a strong arm. He's very raw. Don't get me wrong. He's very raw. But if you put him under a guy like Dak Prescott, maybe he could develop the way you thought Trey Lance might.
Right.
And then I just wanted to ask you a quick question. If the draft started today or whenever it starts, if you had to guess which position the Cowboys were leaning in the first round, which one would you give the most stock to? And I'll leave it at that. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you. Well, to answer that question, which way would they be leaning? Such a tough one, because while 12 is considered early, it's about 2 hours for the draft. I mean, it's 10 minutes or so a pick. So that's about 2 hours after the draft. So much can happen and will happen in that time. And so I think offensive line, I see wide receiver happening, as well. I don't see a running back, because I don't think it'll be Genty, and then I don't think they'll take the next best running back. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't take a running back until, it could be Saturday. I mean, we think that they're just going to take a running back because they need one, but I don't know. I mean, there's two schools of thought here. Do you need a younger, dynamic running back with this team because you don't have one? Yeah, maybe. Can anybody come in here and rush for 1,000 yards like they did last year? Don't forget that. Like that aspect too. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with that, but I think there's a group of people in the building that sort of think that way. So that maybe Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders can do the job. And I'm not saying they don't get any running back. They'll get some, but it's maybe not as high of a need as people think. But I would say offensive line, wide receiver, and never rule out the pass rusher. I mean, just that's a position of need. Always. You always need more pass rushers. And so that if you're going to reach for a position at 12 or maybe trade back and you're at 15, 17, whatever, I never rule out a pass rusher. And then to answer your question or your comment about the Milton trade, I totally agree with you. I don't. You're right. The Cowboys never get credit for that kind of stuff. But when you think about what they need, or they need to get a young quarterback, that's basically what they got. That's what they got here in a second-year guy with a ton of upside, very raw, like you said, strong-armed. He'll be a fun player to watch at training camp in the preseason. But we'll see how it goes from there. But yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily have to go draft a quarterback now. You got Will Grier also. You have now you've got Milton. I'm hearing a little rumors that maybe the Cowboys are still looking at other quarterbacks out there. So you can just Google the list and see the names of players that are out there. And sounds like that's still on the table too. So I don't think the Cowboys are done looking at quarterbacks. But for the Milton trade and what they gave up, and basically just a 6th round pick, but they gave up a 5th, got a 7th. So that they gave up one of their 5th comp picks, picked up another 7th in the process to get Joe Milton, who was a 6th round pick last year. All right, let's go. Let's see, we have another caller on the line. We'll go to Zach in Germany. Zach,
Nick, what's going on?
How are you doing?
Good, brother. How are you?
Good. Talk to me.
Actually, I should start with one thing. So Anthony always refers to you as Nick the Quick, but I have to ask, does he understand that your calf is made of paper mache?
It's true. I mean, 100% true. I don't think he knows that. I don't think he knows that or cares. He just kind of has that Nick Van Exel vibes, and I like it. It's fine. It works.
Good. Okay. With that said, do you think you or Rich Eisman would have a better 40? You think you could beat Rich?
Do I have to wear the suits? Because that's what he does. He wears the suit, right? He has to run in
he
the
does
suit.
wear the suit. You're more of a button-up guy, so I don't know. If you're going to put the blazer on.
I think he might have a better 40 time if we're just like he's running and then I'm over here in this part of the country and I'm running. But if we raced, I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to lose to Rich Eisen. So I'm sorry. I'm going to beat him. If he's next to me, I'm going to beat him. Now, what will my calf look like and feel like after that? After that, 5.9 seconds or whatever. I don't know. What does he run?
That sounds about right.
Is it in the fives? Nah, I don't know.
Fives, low sixes, something like that.
I'm tall.
Old man.
I got some stride, but I got to get going here. I don't know. I haven't run in a while, and probably for a good thing. We're not going to be doing a lot of running. So
that's good.
Yeah, I did some dancing. I did some dancing not too long ago with my daughter in front of a stage and all that. That was 2 minutes long, and I felt it there. So if that's the case, I certainly won't be doing a lot of running. All right, Zach.
You got to stretch, brother. You got to stretch.
What do you got, True?
No, I'll go based off of what you were just talking about, actually. And I think part of the issue, we've had this talk in the past with the philosophy of the Cowboys. When you put so much emphasis on the draft, and then look at this year's free agency is a good example. We once again just kind of fill some roles. We're not really signing big starters, and it's a good difference between how the Cowboys operate and other teams. I know we use Philly a lot. Philly's not afraid to go make a big trade or go sign a big free agent like Saquon, and that's why it's not so much of a risk for them if they don't hit on all of their draft picks. Where for Dallas, we don't make those types of trades. We'll make, the lower end trades, give up a fourth, fifth, etc. But we put so much emphasis on the draft that they have to hit. But then you get the Geitens of the world where, most of the time we're drafting in the teens, low 20s, where those guys, they might work, they might not. We've had 2 back-to-back drafts where it really hasn't worked out for us, and now it's pigeonholed us into this position where once again here we're saying, hey, we have to hit on this pick.
Right.
What I would actually argue would, and I know you don't like to trade up, but I would actually think, in this year's draft, right, listening to the draft shows and other guys, there's about 14, 15 first-rounders on most people's boards. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be afraid to trade up to get the guy that you want and give up, one of those assets if you know it's going to hit. Now, you never truly know, but, you're trying to peg that, whether it's going up and getting Hunter or Genty or whoever you identify. I would say I'd rather do that and get the sure thing than to trade back, because that's another scenario people are bringing up. Hey, why don't we trade back to 16, 17, 18? But then you run the same risk. You're going to run that same risk of we get the guy and the guy that we need to develop. Look at all the offensive linemen. Every one of them has either an injury history or technique issues. So in this year's draft, I think that's where it's concerning. And I when you do that year after year, this is what we get.
Yeah.
So I just want to get your thoughts on that. Would you rather trade up, stay put, or trade back? But for me, if you identify one of those guys as the guy, give up the third, go up to pick 6 or whatever,
Zach,
and get your guy.
Let me ask you this before you hang up, because this is basically what you're asking. You have a chance to get one great player out of this 2025 draft class. You're going to get one great player, or you're going to get 4 good ones, 4 good players. And good players.
You hope they're good, though.
Well, but I'm saying, you hope everything. You hope you don't get hit by a bus. I mean, like we hope everything. But what I'm saying is that out of this draft class, you're going to get one great player. He's going to be in the Pro Bowl 3 times, or you're going to get 4 good players, solid, good starters, probably not in the Pro, maybe a Pro Bowl alternate once. 4 good ones. What does this team need? Does this team need that one great player, or does the team need 4 good players? And that's kind of what happens, because if you trade up to get that guy, but you're probably not going to get a lot of good second, third, fourth rounders. But if you trade, let's say you trade back, you can get a good player there. You're going to get more seconds and maybe another third. You're going to get more good players. So
I'll argue for why I would go with the one great player.
Yeah.
Micah's draft is a good example. Micah was a great player out of that draft.
I was thinking the
same thing. Where the rest of that draft kind of...
Well, Osa's in there. Is Osa? See, Osa's a good player.
Yeah.
He's got a great contract, but he's a good player.
Yeah, he got a great contract. And you're right on that. I would go with the great player because they have the ability to change your team. Now, if you can go up as high as to get Hunter, whatever that's going to cost you, do it, because he's dual threat, one, and you could either make him great just at one position or hopefully good at 2. But either way, the other piece is you have to change your philosophy of not everything has to be focused strictly draft. And that's the problem with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we have to go back to 2005 where we, signed Henry, Ferguson, and all those guys to these massive contracts. But if you can make certain key moves, sometimes it's a high-end trade. I hate referring to the Eagles, but they did it with A.J. Brown. Then they're not afraid to go and sign the best running back on the market, and they drafted well.
Yeah.
Their defense is all young guys, and they hit on those draft picks. I get that. But all their money's on the offensive line, their quarterback, their both receivers, and their running back.
Yeah.
But the other thing is they made good trades. If you look at the next 2-3 years, they have multiple seconds, multiple thirds, because they're not afraid to move around, make those moves. So I would argue I'd rather go get the top-end great player, because if you could do that, every year where you're getting just one or two great players and bring in a couple other guys here and there, that's the difference between getting to play, divisional round or getting beyond it.
All right.
In my opinion.
Okay.
I think we need great, not good.
Sounds good. Thanks, Zach. I mean, that's a very good argument. I'll say this: if you're going to have that free agency mindset, which hasn't really changed, even though they did a little bit more this year, but not any big splashes. One thing I've always thought of is you can't have that second round mentality where you're going to just go and get some wild card and hope that because he has an injury or off the field issues or whatever that his value is going to be higher than what it is. You can't have that mentality if you're going to put all the stock, like Zach says, all the stock on the draft. Then I don't think you can have that second round mindset. That's got to be another good, solid player, not one that, man, we hope all the things that people are saying, but we think he's going to be better and we're going to get value, like they did with Jalen Smith, like they've done. They tried with Kelvin Joseph. They've tried with a lot of players in the second round, and Sam Williams is another one where they think, well, they can get some better value than's being reported, and hasn't really worked out. Trayvon Diggs was a good second round pick, but that wasn't really from that mindset. All right, let's go to Irene in Falls Church, Virginia.
Hey, good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing well. All right, so I'll sandwich a comment in with two questions. So number one, Agent Zero, is this a culture change or a marketing ploy? Congrats to Demo. He gets to wear his zero, and I'm sure that will be – it's not even in the press shop yet, but I already checked, so I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Anyway, so for the record, I wanted Rashawn Slater over Micah. I'm never going to go back and claim revisionist history, so I'm not against a pick of O-line. But Rashawn Slater was like a really, really clean prospect, and I think there just seem to be more questions about O-line this time around. You could say the same thing for wide receiver, though. And I think even if we do get somebody at O-line at 12, it's still going to be an upgrade, even if it's not, the greatest prospect in the last decade. So I think they have to balance that when they're evaluating. And then if we get, I guess, wiped out on Genty and Ted are kind of like the hot picks if they fall to you, and it feels like they'd have to fall to you, right? But leaning into some of the draft buzz, if we don't have trade partners to go back, do you think the more likely pick is Hampton or Golden? And I'll pick it up there. Thanks.
At 12?
Bye. Yeah, at 12.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Irene. I don't think it would be Hampton. I don't believe that they will. I think they would take Genty if he was there at 12. I don't think he will be, but I think they would take him there. I don't know if they would take Hampton or any other running back. Like I said earlier, I just don't feel like they think that they're going to, try to get a running back that's, too high. Not saying that they don't take one, but we'll see. Again, this is the time of year where it's a lot of smoke screen. You hear one thing, you say another. Just because one scout leaves the meeting room and says, I don't know if we're going to take a running back, or I don't know if they're going to do this, or receiver, or I don't think they don't like this offensive tackle. It doesn't mean that Jerry doesn't. It doesn't mean that Will McClay doesn't. So if you guys watch the draft show, you sit around, that they got, 12 guys sitting in here, and they have different opinions on different players, So same thing happens with scouts and coaches and players and things like that, especially the coaches that see things differently. Also, you mentioned Overshown. Yeah, he's going to wear 0. It's been one of those storylines that I'm just glad that that's over. I think it's kind of taken on a life of its own. He needs to be real careful. I mean, like it's about playing good football. It's not about numbers and all that stuff. And everybody likes him. Everybody likes DeMarvion Overshown. But let's. Hopefully, and I think he will. Hopefully, his mindset is getting back. He said that the other day. That's the most important thing he said. It's not about wearing 0, the first to wear 0. No one cares really about that. They really don't. What they care about is he said he wants to be comeback player of the year. Well, that's great. That's what people care about. Because when he's on the field and he's going and flying around the ball and doing his thing, he can be a really good player, and we saw that before he got hurt. And that's what I think people are caring about. You don't want to get too far down the road and worry about the wrong stuff. There were other linebackers that were drafted around here that changed numbers that kind of fell into that. You don't want to be that. And I'm not saying he's going to be that, but I'm just saying you got to be careful. Hopefully the focus is on the rehab for him getting back and getting stronger and getting back on the field because when that happens, he can be a really good player, and that's exactly what the Cowboys need. Let's go to break here real quick on Cowboys Storyline. I'll be right back after this.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Up next, waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take your steak, cornbread, cobbers, pot pie, and potatoes next oval with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alteclansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Altec Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
Come see your favorite Cowboy players swing for the fences for the 12th annual Reliant Home Run Derby on April 22nd. That's at Riders Field in Frisco. They're going to raise money for the Salvation Army. You can meet the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Rowdy admission is free. Gates open 6 p.m. That's April the 22nd, 2 days before the draft. 12th annual Reliant Home Run Derby. You can visit DallasCowboys.com/Reliant HRD for more details. All right. Let's go to the phone lines again. Lewis is in Langston, Oklahoma. Lewis, what's up?
Not much, man. Just give my little opinion about them making the trade for Joe Milton.
Okay.
Which I appreciate them trying to bring in some extra help, a backup, maybe somebody in the future, especially with Dak's contract. At the end of Dak's contract, you kind of still have the rights to Joe Milton. But I was wondering, because I haven't really got to listen, so I don't know if anybody's brought it up. Do you still think about around training camp they bring in like a veteran quarterback? Because as much as I like Joe Milton, he doesn't have a whole bunch of in-game experience, and then Will Greer doesn't have a whole bunch of in-game experience. So do you think they bring in a veteran quarterback on something small, a couple $1 million or something like that, just to, another body and just in case as an insurance as the season goes on?
Yes,
and,
I do think though.
I'll put at that.
Go ahead. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, Lewis.
No, you good. I just was I don't want to harp on the Micah thing. Everybody is kind of talking about it. I really do think it's going to get done. It's just, honestly, when it comes to the timing, I'm not the biggest fan of the wait and see and wait to the end of the training camp or wait right before the game starts or, all of that's pandering, and I'm not a fan of it. So I wish they would hurry up and get that done. And then my next question is, what do you think? Do you think they bring in I know they're going to go through the draft, but I still worry about the big man in the middle as far as a big nose tackle. You think they bring somebody in during training camp? Because that's the biggest thing that I'm worried about is bringing in the body as far as give me a 300-pound, what Brian brought us, a trash can full of dirt, somebody immovable. I need them to bring somebody in like that. As much as I like Mozzie, I need them to bring another body in like that. Even if you bring in another 3-tech, let them be 300 pounds plus. But that's it, man. I'll get off the phone, let somebody get in. I'll listen when I can.
Thanks. I appreciate it, Lewis. Going back to that, one technique, big old defensive tackle, sloppy guys. When you look at Matt Eberflus's defenses, when he was here with the Cowboys, it was Rod Marinelli's defense. He was the linebackers coach, but a lot of people thought he was kind of the co-coordinator there, and they didn't have a lot of big guys at defensive tackle. Tyrone Crawford, Nick Hayden, there at tackle. When he was with the Colts, that wasn't a position that he really had a lot of, like big, size defensive tackles. They still stay in their gaps and stop the run. They also kind of get up the field. And I think there's two mindsets there. You get these big bodies that you're not necessarily pushing the pile this way, but you're not going to get pushed back. And you can stop the run and things like that and hope that your guys off the edge make the play. Which, in this case, the Cowboys have those guys, obviously, and Micah and some other pass rushers. Dante Fowler, I think, is going to help. You also can look at it and say, I want my guys. That's what Marinelli's thought was. I want guys that rush the quarterback, get up the field, create so much pressure that you have to worry about that. You're not worried as much about running it. Yeah, you're going to run it at times, but we're they're going to be solid and get it stopped. But the pressure is going to be in the quarterback, getting up the field. So that, I think, is kind of what the mindset is. So if you're looking at the roster, you just don't see that guy. You may not have the Linval Joseph type player. I'm not saying you won't have 300-pound linemen, but the big old sloppy tackle, not sure if that guy is on this defense. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's go to Davion in Illinois. No, I'm sorry, Michael in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Didn't see that one up there. Michael, what's up, man?
What's up? What's going on? How you doing?
Good. How are you? I'm going to skip you.
Huh? Oh, I know. It's all right. Sorry, I'd have waited. Are you going to have a show Wednesday after next, the day before the draft?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how much stuff you have to do, with it coming out there.
We'll do it. The only schedule that might change somewhat is Thursday, but I don't know. That'll be discussed. I don't know. Chris is probably working on that. Those shows that happen earlier in the day on Thursday, I think there's 3 of them. So we'll see about that. But as far as the other shows, I think my show Wednesday, yeah, 100%, we'll be there.
Well, when Chris answered, he said he was busy. He had a lot of work to do. So,
yeah.
I saw a thing on Instagram last week, and I believed it. And then I found out it was an April Fool's joke. They said the Cowboys are releasing Diggs to free up money to pay Micah. And I was like, well, that makes sense. I would have been kind of sad about it, but it was a believable April Fool's joke.
Yeah, that is believable. That could happen, but. They don't need to free up money to sign Micah. They don't need to do that because signing Micah is going to be less money than what he's counting right now. They could free up money by signing Micah. That's what they could do. So they don't need to do that. It sounded good and all that, and I don't really know the future for Trayvon Diggs. It'll depend a lot on how he returns from injury this year, when he returns. all that stuff and how he plays, obviously. But we'll see. It's an uphill battle for him with the injury that he had, the timing of it. But he's a playmaker. We know that. We've seen that. And I thought he played pretty well last year, coming off the injury that he had. I thought he played well. I never get caught up in those cornerbacks that go and do they tackle, do they don't. Deion Sanders is the greatest football player, in my opinion, of all time. Didn't tackle. And he's on my team. He's one of the first picks. In his prime, pun intended, he is one of the best football players to ever play. So, yeah, the knock on him. And the people that didn't like the flashiness, the earrings, the gold chains, the rap, and all the ego and the arrogance, then they'll, he doesn't tackle. Well, fine. But, he shut down half the field. He made Larry Brown into a really good cornerback for 1 year. Yeah. So, anyways, Trayvon Diggs, go cover your guy, make plays. I thought he does that pretty well. And so I don't really knock his game for the tackling, whatever. I don't do that.
I got one more quick question.
Yeah.
I heard that Dak was like slimming down. I heard he's lost as much as 50 pounds.
Did you hear that on April 1st?
No.
Okay.
No, I did.
Other days. Okay. He's lost how much?
I've heard. I find it hard to believe that he's lost as much as 50 pounds. That just doesn't seem. But they said he's slimming down, so I don't know what that's going to do for his game.
You said 5-0 or 5-1? 50?
I've heard as much as 50 pounds, which sounds insane. Can't be true, but they said he is slimming down.
Okay. Well, they've got him listed in last year's roster as 228. My math says that 50 pounds is 178, and Turpin weighs 155. So let's hope that's
slimming down, though.
Let's hope that's not the case. I don't think that's close to that. Deuce Vaughn, 180. No, he hadn't lost 50 pounds. I saw him 2 days ago. I've seen him working out some. He looks good. He looks good. He hasn't lost 50 pounds, and he doesn't need to lose 50 pounds. Like that's not his problem. Like that's not the problem at all. So he whatever it is fine. He looks very Dak-like. He looks almost the same. So I don't know what you heard or read or whatever. He might have lost some weight, but he doesn't look any different. So to me. Cool. All right, Michael. Good talking to you.
Thanks.
Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it going here. We're going to Illinois. Davion's in Illinois. He's been holding. Davion, what's up?
What it do, my guy? What's going on with y'all?
How are you?
I'm doing great. Man. My routine, just getting out of work, and yeah, excited to get on.
What are you thinking? What is your draft thoughts?
Well, first of all, man, it was so good to wake up. Well, not wake up, but open up Twitter today and see Agent Zero. I haven't bought a Cowboy jersey since I got Diggs, so man, I'm gonna have to go and cop that. That's history in the making. There, we never had a Zero, so I'm like, that is so cool.
Not as a player, no.
That is so cool to have a Zero out there as a Cowboy star, man. It's gonna be. I think I'm about to get that jersey.
All right.
Draft thoughts. Hopefully, I don't know why Kuiper keep giving us Mario Hampton at 12. I guess, you got to do what you got to do for us.
It's not happening.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think if we're going to do that, it'd be a trade back. It's just a little too rich for me. I really ain't feeling that. But hopefully, I'll tell you, I'm team weapon. I want either Ted. I would be okay with Golden, but still, I want to trade back for him too. But I'm all about team weapon. I don't want no offensive line. Me and Dylan be having our battles about it, but I can't wrap my mind around having that offensive line in the first round. I don't want nobody developing we're just trying to figure out. And Zach had a good question from Germany. I'm with you. I want 4 good guys. I don't really. The only great one is cool, but yeah, I want me some 4 good ones because I think this team needs good players. We got a core of potentially great with Dak, CD, Micah, maybe Demo if he can bounce back from his injury. So I think we got some potentially great players in that. So give me some 4 good guys that go along with that core, and then we can really start cooking.
Yeah. I'm with you. You know, you made a statement about the offensive line. You're not feeling that, and you're saying that you don't want a guy to develop. But, you know, if you're drafting a guy at offensive lineman at 12, there's not a lot of developing. There shouldn't be. I mean, plug in and play. That's the one concern that I have is for the last 10 years, you've not had zero worries about your right guard position. And right now, you don't have a player. I guess Tyler Smith at left guard, you don't have a lot of worries there. But I like 2 or 3 linemen like that. So that's why I would probably do it. And I'm not saying you have to draft a guard, but I'm drafting the tackle. I'm drafting somebody I want less people to worry about for the offensive line. And that's probably why I keep going back there. That's why I would take an offensive lineman, because you just lost a Hall of Famer. And you don't have that. And I think you can get good value with the 12th overall pick. There's 5 or 6 teams not doing that. They got to get quarterback. They got to get receiver. They got to get pass rusher. So go for it. That's why you're going to get really good. To me, you get really good value with the offensive line if you do it at 12. That's why I keep going there. But
I mean, the people they're trying to get there is either tackle they're trying to slide in the guard or the Booker guy. And, like, everybody's swearing about this guy. But, I mean, Alabama linemen are – it's a it's like, you know, them guys come in. I mean, the Giants line is full of them. And it's like, okay.
No, I'm with you. I understand that, you know, but don't be worried about the guys that they're sliding into guard. I mean, that's what Zach Martin did. I mean, Zach Martin did that. He is a guard, and a lot of these guys are going to be guards, and they're going to be great guard. Tyler Smith is another one. He played tackle at Tulsa because he could. He could be on the outside. He's quick enough, strong enough. He can do all that. But he's going to be a better guard, and that's what he's done. And I think, you know, that might be what Kelvin Banks from Texas or Will Campbell from LSU, that might be the case. But that's not a knock on them. I mean, I think they can handle it.
Yeah, I can't get this. I ain't
trying to change your mind because I don't have. I mean, who am I? I mean, I just say what I think can help this team. I think you can have a better opportunity for a plug and play guy right here at 12. And don't throw Tyler Guyton at me because that was a forced pick late in the first round. They needed a lineman. They knew he was raw. They knew he was a project, and that's exactly what he's been. Not as good as they thought he would be his first year, but still, they knew there was going to be some work there. But you draft a lineman at 12, I'm not worried about Tyler Guyton's feelings. He can play right tackle. He can figure it out. I need a plug-and-play player, and I think the position to do that is probably left tackle, maybe corner. You draft a corner at 12 overall, he should be able to come right in and start. So that's kind of my thought there.
I agree. I mean, but I'm not out. The jury's still out for me on Guyton. I think Guyton's gonna be all right. I think he might be. He might be. If he's in the weight room like they say and all that good stuff, I think he'll be okay. I think he needs better coaching, and I think we got one with Connor and Clayton. So I think I want to, and I just have a sneaky feeling that Brock is going. He's going to battle.
All right.
I mean,
he's going to battle. He's going. You talking about Brock Hoffman? Yeah. He's going to battle. There's no doubt about it.
He's going to battle. So I'm not really giving up on him quite yet.
We don't have to. You don't have to give up on him. All right, Davion, good stuff. Good stuff from you. Let's go to Carolina. He's on the road. He's trucking. I think in Lindale, Texas. I don't even know where that is. Carolina, what's up?
What's up, my friend?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man.
I mean,
another day.
You're really a Texan. You're like a native Texan. Every time you call, you're really in Texas. I mean, I hope
For the past couple of years, I've been in Texas a lot. I'll tell you that.
That might need to be your residence. You don't pay a state income tax.
I mean, that would be cool. But Texas is just, man, it's too big, man. You could never get out of here. So I like South Carolina. I like it nice and small. I can go from end to end and be home at the end of the day if I need to.
This time I thought it was North Carolina. All right, go ahead. What do you got?
South Carolina, man. Come on, you can't do that, man. Gotta be one of the other.
I am so sorry. I don't know the difference, but I bet you there is a big one if you ask the people down there. But I don't know.
There's a big difference. But
okay.
All right. I wanted to touch back on what Gavin said earlier in the show about Joe Milton.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of ecstatic that we got some younger talent in here, a mobile talent at that, somebody who can throw, run, maybe she has a strong arm. Now, this is what I've been teetering with, right? Do you think? I got a couple questions, but the first one is: do you think this is like a safety net for them, since Dak has been getting hurt so frequently? Because, I mean, let's be realistic. Nothing against Will Grill, but, I mean, Dak goes down and Will Grill go in. I mean, I don't think we win in 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
We barely made it happen with Cooper Rush, and that was a stretch.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree. I don't know if their backup quarterback, the true backup to Dak, I don't know if he's on the roster right now. He might be. He might be Joe Milton. I saw him the other day, did his interview with Tommy Yarish. I mean, he's a big dude. I mean,
That's a big dude.
I was like, wow. Like, I didn't expect that. And he's definitely got a big arm, but he's raw. He's got to get, he's got to get, it figured out. It's exciting though, with Dak coming back and Milton and then we'll see. Maybe they draft someone. They don't have to. They don't have to draft a quarterback, but they still could.
I mean, who's? I mean, like when you're talking about later rounds drafting a quarterback, who would you really draft over him? When we talking about 5th round,
over Milton,
6th round, exactly.
Oh, I don't know if you have to draft him over Milton. I mean, he might. You're probably drafting him over Will Grier, and keeping 3 quarterbacks. So, I don't know. I mean, honestly,
I just think that was a solid move.
Yeah, it was a really good move. I mean, that's the time of year. These are Band-Aid moves. You're putting Band-Aids on positions. It's not bleeding. You don't have to go and fix this right now. And so that's kind of what it is. And so I thought it was a great move. Great move for what they ended up giving up, a comp 5th round pick to solidify the position if they want to. Now, if they think that there's a quarterback that's better, go for it. It's probably going to push Will Grier out. But then those are your 3 guys. And if they don't draft one, then maybe they still look to see who's available in free agency. So they got options.
So I got a question for you, right? This is worst case scenario, right? Okay, say if nobody, I never want anybody to get hurt, but just with his frequency of being hurt so much, say that goes down, right? I'll just say first 6 games of the season, you're 3-3, or you're let's say 4-2, whatever the case may be, and he can't come back, and Joe Milton can win you 8 games. Do you go back to that?
Oh my God!
Because he has his contract and the money. And we've seen this before. Top end quarterbacks, a little bit older, get hurt. New young guy comes in and wows the whole front office. Are you too invested to go to the younger talent, or you sticking with that?
I mean, that's a heck of a scenario, but we've seen it. We've seen it. Oh, yeah, I mean, we saw it with Dak and Romo. I mean, Dak just kept winning.
There you go.
Dak wasn't better than Tony Romo. I mean, at his rookie year, he wasn't a better quarterback than Tony Romo, but you couldn't do that. You couldn't change it at the time. And that's why I said 4 or 5 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever that was, I made this comment, and it didn't happen, but I said, if Cooper Rush wins 5 games in a row, I'm not going to Dak. I'm not going back to Dak on this. He's not if you win 5 games in a row. I'm going to stick with what's happening here. And then that they won 4 in a row. He lost to the Eagles. Dak comes back. All that. Just it's more of a mojo thing than that. So we'll see. There's a lot happening there. How was Dak playing before the injury? How is Milton? Is he the reason they're winning, or is it just because the defense is playing well? So a lot of factors involved there. But ultimately,
if he's the reason, what would you do?
I'm playing the better quarterback. But again, that is such a crazy scenario of a guy that was a 6th-round pick for the Patriots who sucked last
Dak
year.
was a 4th.
Well, hold on. I didn't finish. The Patriots sucked last year. Okay? They weren't good at all. And he was there. And it wasn't an option to play. So it's not like he was Dak that was like, oh, we got to put Dak in, and Dak takes him and they take off. I'm just saying that he's a 6th-round type player with a strong arm. So to say that he is going to jump in and be a better option than Dak, boy, a lot of the stars have to align just perfectly. And that's what we're doing in mid-April here. We're doing scenarios like that. We can have fun and do all that. But I find that very hard to believe that he is going to be a better player than Dak Prescott right now. But if he is, I'm for it. It'll be fun to watch.
My last comment for you, man.
That seemed like an ender. That one seemed like an ender. But to have another one, I can't wait for it. I can't wait.
Good. So, all season, everybody, I love the all season. I love the draft. I love the free agency. I'm not too big on that. It takes so long. I am ready for football. I'm ready for football. Even though it's about to be preseason or however long it's going to take for it to come, that's what I'm ready to see. That's when we're going to see what type of talent he has. I mean, of course, there's backups, but it's the NFL, man. If you're in the NFL, you got talent. Backup or no backup. And I'm going to leave it at that. Can't wait till the preseason comes. Can't wait till this draft is over. See who we acquire. Go Cowboys.
All right.
You got a good one, Nick.
All right, you too. Thanks for the call. Let's go to break here real quick on the storyline. Come right back after this.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
There is no I in Dallas. There is no I in Hart either. No I in Blue Star or in Lone Star for that matter. And there's no I in how about them Cowboys? Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks, home or away, we rally together. We cry together. And we always rally cry together because there's definitely no I in Cowboys fans. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
To Cowboys Storyline.
This segment is presented by Yeti. Officially licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concession, and on Yeti.com. All right. Back here for probably about 10 more minutes or so. We got some more callers on the line. Let's go to Derek in Seattle. He's been holding for a little bit. Derek, what's up, man?
Hey, good morning. Hope all's going well in your life.
Yeah.
And,
doing good.
Hopefully I don't repeat anybody else. I just kind of chimed in here, but so I might be repeating myself or somebody else. But offensive linemen like the last caller. Ooh, I really don't want to see that. I just think the first 3 picks, some order, have to be receiver, running back, and corner. We're getting in. You look at teams like Philly, the Rams. I mean, they're so explosive because they have so many playmakers. We have one CD, so I think we have to improve that. And then the other thing is, where do you sit on, I hate all this talk of value and need. I'm more, in the first round, I'd go with value, the guy who could be an all-pro, but Dallas so many times in the second and third rounds. They pick a guy because, he's great value. He was ranked high and
Yeah.
he's still here. But go for need. I mean, all the guys, once you get past the top 25, the next 80 guys are pretty close. So I think draft for a position you need. I don't know how you feel about that. And then finally, everybody's always trying to get rid of Dak. It's killing me. It was Cooper Rush. Now it's this Milton guy. Dak's the quarterback. If he has a decent team around him, they're going to be excellent. And so, everybody leave Dak alone. They have a nice backup in Milton now, a little better than Cooper perhaps, more explosive. But anyways,
Derek,
I wanted to see what you thought.
Yeah, well, I'm going to ask you. You said the Cowboys have one playmaker. Who is that?
It's CD.
Right.
That's
it. I'm just going to remind you, about 5 years ago, the Cowboys were in that draft. They did not have the need for him, but they did see the value of him that was falling and said, you know what, let's draft this guy. Yeah, we have Amari Cooper, we have Michael Gallup, but let's draft this guy.
But that was first round. And in the first round, I get that. 'Cause in the first round, you can get an all-pro, you know, like he is. But it's the second, third, fourth rounds.
Second round years, but here's another thing, though. They got they got needs at everything. I mean, like they do. Like they need everything. They need a corner. They probably don't need a safety. They don't really need a safety, and I think they would be fine with not getting a tight end. I'm not saying you don't, if there's a better option, but I'm saying you probably don't need a tight end, you don't need a safety. But every other position, running back, guard, tackle, receiver, there's a need there. I'm with you. Like if you got an exciting young wide receiver that was fun, that'd be great. Think about like the Xavier Worthy type. He was drafted late in the first round. Good, exciting player, but Flowers from the Ravens a few years ago was kind of like that. Similar to what Golden could be. But if it's an offensive lineman, I'd be totally fine with that. I mean, I just don't understand how. Honestly, no offense, but I just don't understand how Cowboy fans that have been fans of this team for the last few years, 10, 15 years, and look at what happened when they signed or when they drafted Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin. As much as they might have hated that at the time, what great picks that they were, and what did that do for the offensive line? And it just so happened that Dak was able to step right in as a rookie and play, and Zeke was ready to roll as a rookie as well. So I think a solid offensive line like this makes you have a little bit more playmakers. But, let's not forget, everyone keep talking about the Eagles. The Eagles have a great offensive line, which makes a lot of those guys better too. So, hey, they can't go wrong. They got too many needs. They really can't go wrong here.
I know, but I hope they get explosion though.
And that's fine.
Please.
I get it. You want to do that? Hadn't seen it in a while. Hadn't drafted that in a while. That would be fun. I'm not going to say that it's not, but I can't see a pick that I would be like, ooh, I hate that.
You're right.
I don't see that.
Except tight end. No tight end.
No tight
in the first round anyway.
But that tight end from Penn State, he could be really, really dynamic, and I do think tight ends can change your offense if there can be a mismatch nightmare. The only thing that would be bad is if they did what the Falcons did last year and drafted like a Michael Penix.
Yeah.
Just to sit. That would be the one thing. If they said, you know what, we're gonna get Jackson Dart, and just that. He's not going to help you tomorrow, I don't think. No. So that would be the only thing that I could see where in the first round this doesn't look good. But other than that, it's going to be fine.
So, well, thanks, buddy.
All right, Derek. Good hearing from you. All right, let's go to Tamara in Iowa. Tamara, what's up?
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I usually get a little more leeway than this. I just wanted to say, so it's not. I've never met Rob, and while I like what he has to say, I'm not his ex.
Okay.
Because all my exes are in Texas, and I only have one.
All right.
His name is not Rob. Anyhow, so in the Romo thing. Last time I called in about Romo, and I got a little mixed up. I thought it happened in Denver. I think it was actually a Browns game, and he had stitches on his face. And if you Google it, you can find it. Anyway, I don't know if it was actually confirmed or not. That's the part I don't know. But if you Google it, you can find out what I was talking about. Anyhow, and the Denver game, though, I got to say, so you ever sit next to somebody at work and they just hate your team and they hate the guy you love the most, which is Romo. I love him the most. And they just wanted to make fun of him every chance they got. And so I sat next to a Broncos fan, and he loved in that Broncos game. I don't know if I know he did play with broken ribs in the game. I'm not sure if it was that one, but I know Romo did play. Well, we don't talk about it because you're supposed to report all your injuries and all that. But I know that Romo did play with some broken injuries.
Yeah.
That he didn't talk about. And I think it might have been that game. But that game was brutal to me. And then it's hard to sit next to somebody that likes to talk about that. And so anyhow, I think that's how I got that mixed up in my brain. But anyway, so what do you think about what's going on in the off season? Because I don't know, I'm optimistically kind of hopeful. I have what Irene likes to call hopium. A little bit of that going on out of my little basket. It's not much, though.
Yeah.
We're in Iowa, and the ground's still pretty cold over here, so we're not planting no flowers till after Mother's Day. That's the thing. I don't know what happens down where you guys are in Texas, where all my exes just one is. You guys might be planting flowers down there, but we're not. Anyway, that's all I had to say.
All right.
I actually had something else, but I was holding it so long I forgot about what it was. But anyway, I just love y'all, and I love what you do, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you, Tamara.
Bye.
Have a good day. All right. There's a lot going on there. I'm trying to say where to process that. Off season. Hopefulness, yeah. I mean, that's what happens in the off season. I mean, you get, it's like the cycle. You get excited again about what this team can do, and some of the things that they're done in the off season to try to fix the problems. And there were a lot of problems. That's what we just talked about in the last caller. I mean, there's a lot of needs on this team. So they're going to get a good player, they get top 12 pick. They've earned that because they weren't very good last year. And not only that, but you get the 44th pick in the second round, which is high, pretty high in the second round. You should get another good player. You should get another player that should come in and start. So, that's what this team needs. You got guys coming back from injury. You're getting some players in free agency that can come in and help. You're also getting some draft picks. So that's what it is. You add that together and new coach and new staff, and yeah, they should get excited about it. All right, let's go to Ronnie in New Jersey.
Hey, how you doing, Nick?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. Pretty good, thank you. Nick, I don't know. I was just telling Chris, I'm like, I don't see why everybody's getting so. What's up with the deal with not wanting an offensive lineman? I mean, whenever we've been good, we've had a great offensive line. So I don't know where they're getting that they have to have a wide receiver or running back. I guess because they're seeing all this stuff on ESPN and stuff like that. That's what they're getting predicted to get. But I'll be happy if we get somebody that could open up and help back with the passing game and with the running game. So I don't see anything bad with that. With that being said, I was wondering, they're taking so long with these negotiations back and forth with Micah. I'm wondering if they are waiting for the draft to see maybe, hey, you never know. Somebody might blow their doors off by giving them a great offer. What will you take for a great pass rusher? Because honestly, he's a great pass rusher. He's not that much of a run stopper. If they were to offer you 3 first-round picks or 2 first-round picks, a second and a third within these 2 years, wouldn't you take that? I mean, I think I would. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I got to remember the position that I'm in. If I'm going to sit there and say, yeah, I would do that, I need to see what it is. I need to see exactly what it is. So hypothetically, trading Micah Parsons, I'm not for the hypothetical. You can do that, and that's what fans should do. Me personally, I need to see the numbers. I need to see what it is. What exactly is it going to be? Is it going to change your team? And you can't just say first-round picks, because Travis Hunter is going to be a first-round pick, and Shamar Stewart is going to be a first-round pick as well, probably from A&M. I just looked at our draft magazine here, and I'm just throwing that out there. What are we talking here? High first round, late first round, and I understand when you go down the road, you don't know that, because that team's going to get better with Micah Parsons. We know that. So I wouldn't expect a high first round pick, except for the one right there. So if someone's offering me a pick for Micah Parsons, the first round pick better be a high pick. After that,
that was the other part of the question, because I was going to ask you. It would have to be. I would consider a team, let's say like Cleveland. I would consider a team that's not going to give me like a pick in the 20s or 15. You know what I'm saying? Like I would consider a team that I know is going to be bad for the next couple of years. So if they're offering me something like that for Micah, I would probably take it, because I don't think whatever players we get this year is going to make, considering the division and the conference that we're in, I don't see us as a playoff team this year. Maybe something will change for next year, but this year I don't see us being a playoff team. So that's why I would kind of consider something like that.
Okay.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Talk to you soon.
I'm just not about trading away Micah. I mean, I just, when I see him on the field, I see the things that he does and how he can change the game. I'm just not. The goal is to get great players on your football team. That's what the draft is all about. You want to get these great players. That was one of the best picks the Cowboys have ever had in the history of the franchise. To get Micah Parsons at where they did, they had the 10th pick. They traded back to the 12th pick. Did they back into it? Yeah, maybe. They still got him. He was great. He is great. And that's the goal. And so now to trade him to try to get other great picks and hope that they're as good, I don't know. I'd rather just surround him with other good players, and I think he'll even be even better. So that's why I've just never been a big fan of making that trade. All right, last one. Let's go to Rick in Massachusetts. Rick.
Hey Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. Just I agree with you. We'd rather have four good players than one great player. It's easier to go back or just draft where you are than it is to go up, because you lose a lot of draft capital, which you need.
Right.
So, comments is saying, about Micah Parsons. Great that he turned out the way he did, but he wasn't listed as being a great player. He was just listed as being a linebacker.
Right.
And when we picked him up at 12, because we lost the two corners that we wanted, and then from there he turned into a great player. So that turned out great for us.
Right. I agree. Right. I agree. He had to kind of luck into it. So now I don't know about trading him away. I'm not a fan of it.
Exactly. The other things I was saying is, as far as drafting, me, it would probably be wide receivers, because if you don't pick a wide receiver in the first or second round, it goes down from there. Where running back, you got plenty. You could draft third round, maybe even to the fifth. If we can pick up a fourth, that's even better. But getting a wide receiver, running back, or later, cornerbacks or defensive tackles or something like that, picking up a guard early or whatever, that's good too. But that's the way I do it. I like the Milton trade myself too.
All right. Well, good. Thanks for the call, Rick. One thing I'll say, and I've said this stat before, and I'll mention it again. You said that if you go a little further at wide receiver, the stats, you'll go down as far as how good of a player you're going to get. That's the same with any position. The same with running back. I mean, there's a notion out there that you can draft a running back at any round and you'd be fine. But I went back and looked at these stats. I mean, the stats don't say that. I mean, going back before the pandemic, that's like 6 years of Pro Bowl selections. 34 of your last 40 Pro Bowl selections have been first or second round running backs. So, and then there's a couple in the third round. I think that's just Alvin Kamara. There's been just 4 4 players in the last 6 years that have made it to the Pro Bowl were drafted 4th round or beyond. One of them was the Cowboys' Tony Pollard. Mostert's in there, and then Kyron Williams from the Rams a couple times in the 5th round. That's it. Most of these are 1st and 2nd rounders, and then just a couple in the 3rd round. So history kind of shows now you can get 1,000-yard rusher in Rico Dowdle, but you want to get a game-changing Pro Bowl type player, that's 1st or 2nd round. That's at running back, and that's probably at a lot of positions as well. Great show, guys. 15 calls, a lot of fun. We'll do it again next week as well. So for Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. See you next time on Cowboy Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!